Coming up on Mountain News at 6, Governor Andy Beshear pays a visit to the mountains as a new higher ground community is set to be built in Jenkins. And a nonprofit leading the way in the battle against substance abuse now has a new leader.
Plus, we are tracking the potential for one of the coolest Halloweens on record. Those details coming up as Mountain News at 6 starts now.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
Today, Governor Andy Beshear stopped in Letcher and Floyd counties to announce the 6th and 7th new higher ground communities for flood survivors. WYMT's RJ Johnson was in Jenkins for that event.
A new higher ground community will be built in Jenkins for flood survivors. Governor Andy Beshear was there to announce the more than 90-acre project.
It is incredible. After these families have been through so much, they're going to have a place to call home that they know is safe. This project is supported by the Team Eastern Kentucky Flood Relief Fund in partnership with two nonprofit builders, Fahy Housing and Homes, Inc. They're both here. Let's give them a big round of applause.
The Grandview community will be built off of US 23 in Jenkins and will soon be home to more than 100 flood survivors.
On this land, 115 families who have been through the worst, who likely lost everything they had save the clothes on their back during the worst flooding of our lifetime, will have a new start and a home they know that flooding will never occur.
Mayor of Jenkins, Todd DePriest, says the land comes from a donation from three brothers.
There's a 92-acre donation from the Johnson family to make that possible. They've got sort of designed into those 92 acres, 115 house sites for that area.
Including area for possible development, such as trails, businesses, and more.
That's all being looked at, what the potential is for here and what all could be built up here. So it'll look like a whole nother community that goes along with Jenkins. We're going to tie it to Jenkins so it's not separate.
With more developments underway of helping rebuild the region, DePriest says he's happy to get to work on this project. In Jenkins, RJ Johnson, WYMT Mountain News.
Looks like a pretty place, too. Governor Beshear presented more than $3.5 million to Home Inc. and Partnership Housing Inc. out of Owsley County. Now, in addition to that Grandview project, he also joined leaders to announce another higher ground community in the Wayland area of Floyd County, which will mean 12 homes for flood survivors there. Attorney General and gubernatorial candidate Daniel Cameron is set to make some stops here in eastern Kentucky soon. Officials with Cameron's camp announced the Republican candidate for governor will be at the Clay County Justice Center in Manchester tomorrow morning around 11:30 a.m. Cameron will also be at the historic Davis House in Paintsville on Monday around 6:45 in the evening. And finally, Cameron will be in Pikeville, Hazard, and London for Halloween as he kicks off a big bus tour across the state next week. The shooting in Maine has caused the conversation about red flag laws to restart here in Kentucky. 21 states have adopted red flag laws, but Kentucky is not one of them. Across the Commonwealth, there have been many conversations on extreme risk laws. In the past 2 years, gun violence prevention advocacy groups have pushed this type of legislation, specifically through the CAR Act.
It directly addresses mental health and it protects against impulsive acts. It's an extreme risk protection order. It allows loved ones to go to law enforcement to intervene in mental health crisis, to temporarily remove with due process firearms or keep the person in crisis from purchasing firearms.
Kathy Crow says people can get involved themselves by talking to your local legislators and advocating for such laws. The Kentucky Supreme Court has struck down a new law that allows random changes of venue in cases that challenge state laws. The Kentucky Lantern reports the 6-1 decision was released today, striking down Senate Bill 126 because it violates the separation of powers among branches of state government. The Republican legislature overrode Governor Beshear's veto of the legislation designed to allow the Attorney General or others to ask for an automatic change of venue to a random court. A man was taken into custody after police say he assaulted a medical staff member and a security guard at Baptist Health Corbin. Officers with the Corbin Police Department responded to the call earlier today. Following an investigation, it was determined 27-year-old Andrew Worley assaulted 2 staff members. He was arrested and charged with disorderly conduct, public intoxication, and assault.
Well, check out this beautiful picture from UVA-wise. Plenty of blue sky, also some cirrus clouds back in the distance. That temperature also very comfortable at this hour, up to 68 degrees. Most of us, though, in the middle 70s right now, 75 in Pikeville, 74 in Jackson, 76 over in Manchester. So once again, we are above average and dry on the radar, all thanks to high pressure. And that dry weather is going to continue as we go into tonight. Those lows back in the upper 50s and lower 60s as you wake up on Friday. So once again, we are not as cool as you wake up on Friday, thanks to an increase in those clouds as we go overnight. And more warm weather is on the way on Friday. Temperatures back in the 70s, but we are giving you the first alert for some chilly weather by next week. Possibly one of the coolest Halloweens on record. We're forecasting 48 degrees, so we are looking to be very chilly by the middle of next week. Those details coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Cameron, thank you. Earlier today, actress Jennifer Garner made a stop in Perry County, visiting Buckhorn and Robinson Elementary students at A.B. Combs. Alongside Garner was staff from Save the Children, who she's been partnering with, and a crew from the NBC Today show for a special segment this morning with the kids and Garner, who is back in eastern Kentucky more than a year after the flooding hit our region last year. This time she came with books for the kids to take home and the school to keep. Buckhorn Principal Jen Day says it was a sweet surprise for everyone.
We're all just super excited. The kids had an amazing time. They got to meet Jennifer Gardner as the guest speaker here this morning with Save the Children, and she played with them and sang with them, and they just had a great time, and then surprised them with their books, and they got little gift bags and got to pick out what books that they wanted. So they just had an all-around great morning.
Day says Save the Children and Garner announced they will be donating 5,000 books to both Robinson and Buckhorn to help supply their new libraries when they get them restored. After 8 years, Operation Unite President Nancy Hale has decided to retire. Former Deputy Director Tom Vicini has now taken on the role as president. WYMT's Chandler Wilcox talked to Vicini about their goals moving forward.
It is a time as urgent as ever for those in the fight against substance abuse. A powerful drug continues to pose an even greater threat.
Across our counties, we're dealing with a lot of fentanyl cases and trying to intervene because it really is the major problem out there right now. So
Vicini says 147 people die every day from fentanyl overdose.
Every day. 111,000 people or more died in the last 12 months from drug overdose.
In response, a main focus for Operation Unite has become prevention, letting folks know the dangers before they can get their hands on it.
We're trying to let these people know that if you go down this road, it's the most dangerous time in the history of this world to use drugs. We're trying to let the young people know that they can take one pill and it can end their life.
Vicini says preaching to the younger generation may not be as effective as other tactics.
They don't get anything from that, but when we interact with them and do things that they find entertaining and informative, and we allow them to ask questions.
As they continue to grow their prevention campaign, Vicini says none of it would be possible without Congressman Hal Rogers, who launched the nonprofit 20 years ago. In London, Chandler Wilcox, WYMT Mountain News.
Operation Unite has programs at schools and a summer camp to help educate younger generations. A new partnership was announced today between Kentucky State University and the Kentucky Community and Technical College System. The collaboration will help students who finish KCTCS transfer their credits to KSU in order for them to complete a 4-year degree. KCTCS covers 16 colleges across the Commonwealth. Other highlights of the partnership include providing scholarships and financial aid, comprehensive support services, and offering study programs. One local college is getting ready to host its annual STEM H Day on Monday. Officials with the University of Virginia at Wise say more than 500 middle school students are expected to attend the big day. It will consist of workshops where students participate in basic life support, monitoring respirations, heart rate and blood pressure, and exercise to simulate building blood cells. The events run from 10 a.m. through 1 in the afternoon. A young Owsley County man has died after a public battle with brain cancer. You might remember Austin Reed. He was this year's honoree at the Gray Matters 5K 10K race earlier this year in Whitesburg. Gray Matters is a charity organization created by our own Brandon Robinson, who is a brain cancer survivor. You see Austin walking across the finish line there. Brandon pushed him in his wheelchair most of the way, and as you just saw, he completed that race back in May. His story was so powerful and emotional to everyone there, including yours truly. Thousands of dollars was also raised for a scholarship fund. Funeral arrangements are pending. Austin Reed was just 26.
Well, we are dry into this evening, but more showers are looming as early as tomorrow. Those details coming up. Plus,
Floyd County's newest advancement for animal advocacy is being celebrated for standing up for the underdogs.